All right, well, my movie doesn't have quite the body count as that. Only a single digit number of people died.
Dueling Decades.
All right, Mancrush, you pick up the first point. You get to select. You get to select our next category.
All right, let's go. Let's go movies here, round two, which is where I thought Joe was going to go for round one, and he threw that curveball. But let's go September 27th of 1985. And believe it or not, when I drew September of 1985, I thought there was going to be a plethora of movies to choose from, and there were not. Matter of fact, if you follow our Facebook page, we post the movies released on this date every day around 11:30 in the morning. And one of the things you'd notice is that September is a pretty crummy month for movies, especially the beginning of September.
Yeah, because go ahead.
It's weird. It's like Mark and I talked about this like a couple weeks ago, or like last week or some shit. It's kind of like the summer hangover, like movies that couldn't quite make the summer. Yeah. So it's like, all right, we'll just tag them on to September. But here's the thing, though, like there's just something special about 1985. I always feel like 1985 will have something amazing. But in this case, there was only one movie from the month of September 1985 that stood out to me. It was a canon movie. And how the hell can you go wrong with that? You got a canon movie in 1985? I'll take it. So the box office, this movie took in around $18 million. It was roughly $46 million in 2021. And it was number one at the box office the week that it was released. Now, that doesn't sound like amazing numbers, but that's pretty run-of-the-mill for a canon movie. If their movies were making a few $1 million, then those cousins were overjoyed, that they made that. And the star of this film is a legend and a canon staple. And this was the first movie with canon that he did after he inked this new 6-movie deal with them. And that all said, this movie was way more popular when it hit rental shelves. And it donned one of the most iconic covers in the rental store of all time. Even Mike Ranger, I was telling him about this last night, first thing he mentioned, you got Matt Hunter on the front cover with his Uzis pointing out while wearing a cut-off denim button-down shirt showing off his pecs because it's 1985. And clearly no one wears a fucking shirt in an action movie in 1985. So it fits right in. So if you're in the mood for canon greatness, terrorists in your backyard, body counts over 100, terrible fake accents, retired CIA agents saving the day because the active CIA sucks, Chuck Norris versus countless mercenaries, unlimited ammunition, because it's Chuck Norris, you got to have that, destroying malls, blowing up actual houses, movie where zero logic is required, coke snorting prostitutes, and juvenile scripts with magical one-liners like this one. If you come back in here, I'm going to hit you with so many rights, you're going to beg for a left. Then go out and pick yourself up a DVD copy of the Chuck Norris classic Invasion USA, because you will not find it streaming, because I could not find it last night. I had to go and pull the DVD out to watch it. It's a great one, though. September 17th or September 27th, 1985.
How old was Chuck Norris right then? Do you any idea?
He had to be, like, just looking at him in that movie, I'd say he was like mid 40s.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's in his late 80s.
Oh, he's like 140 or something.
He's probably in better shape than I am.
All right, Joe Findlay, what did you bring for the movies round?
All right, well, my movie doesn't have quite the body count as that. Only a single digit number of people died. But the movie gave us the answer to one of the great all-time questions. What's in the box? September 22nd, 1995. Seven is released. Directed by David Fincher, starring Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Kevin Spacey in his creepiest role other than Kevin Spacey. The movie was nominated for an Oscar for Best Screenplay. It made $327.3 million, which is the equivalent of $569.7 million today. Just one of those mega hits, iconic, everybody knows it. Even if you haven't seen it, you still know it. And that What's in the Box is a legendary...
What's in the box?
What's in the box? Spoiler alert, it was Gwyneth Paltrow's head. If they haven't seen it now, it was 1995. Go screw. But
only 26 years ago.
Yeah.
You say it was Gwyneth Paltrow's egg?
head. It was her jade egg.
It was her vagina smelling candles.
Even then, she was selling vagina eggs. Very good.
While she was
Oh.
shipping them in the box.
What's in that would
I
have been.
smell the box.
I would have
We
bought
knew it
one
was
if
in
it
the
said
box.
"What's in the box" on the outside. That's genius. But yeah, I give you, 7. What more can I say?
It's a good fucking movie.
All right. So for my movie selection, this is a movie ad that I've been anticipating to come up on this show for quite a while. Making its U.S. debut in Los Angeles on September 26, 1975, and still being shown in theaters to this very day. I present to you the musical where a newly engaged couple have a breakdown in an isolated area and must seek shelter at the bizarre residence of a transsexual from outer space. I give you the Rocky Horror Picture Show. Directed by Jim Sharman, who would also go on to direct the 1981 sequel, Shock Treatment. The film was filmed over 6 weeks on a budget of $1.4 million at the Oakley Court in Windsor, England, which is actually now turned into a hotel, and you can go and visit it and stay there. It's really cool. Written by Richard O'Brien and based on his London hit musical, starring Richard O'Brien, Tim Curry, the enchanting Susan Sarandon, Barry Bostwick, Patricia Quinn, Nell Campbell, Meatloaf, and Ernst Stravel Blofeld himself, Mr. Charles Gray as the criminologist. Now, Susan Sarandon was sick at the time of filming, and during the floor show scene, you can actually see her visibly shaking with fever sweats. And Princess Diana, we have to bring her up. It's an episode of Dueling Decades. She was actually a huge Rocky Horror fan. She once even requested a meeting with Tim Curry, where she told him at that meeting that Rocky Horror, quote, quite completed my education. So Rocky Horror is something that I discovered in college as a freshman. We had a whole group of us that would all get together. We'd watch the movie. We even had the scripts printed out, and then we highlighted all the fan participation lines. Alas, though, I've never actually been to a theater to see it, mostly due to the fact that no one was ever willing to go to the movies to see that with me. So I give you the Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Wow.
September 26th, 1975.
Wow. Okay, so now I adjudicate. Yes?
Yes, let's throw it over to Robert Tepper for his
Send it over,
rulings
baby.
on the movies round.
On the movies round. Okay, first of all, these 3 movies are in my hotspot, right? How old am I in 75? I'm 25 years old. I'm 25 years old, so I'm hanging in New York. I'm going all over the place. Rocky Horror Picture Show used to play in this one theater at 12 o'clock on Friday night every week, okay? And people would just go absolutely nuts. Although I think I saw it on 2nd Avenue, in the theater on 2nd Avenue. And I remember going to see it, and it was quite sad. And oh my gosh, Tim Curry, you remember Tim Curry's first solo record? What a great record. And Susan Sarandon and Meatloaf. I mean, the people who were Steinman didn't do anything for that, huh? He didn't write anything.
No.
Okay. I don't know why I always thought he did, but anyway, but it was kind of a showcase for theatrical rock and roll. I always felt,
Yeah.
like it was kind of like the beginning of Bat Out of Hell, and
Yep.
Meatloaf kind of stayed with that theme of dramatic rock and roll, which
Yeah, I mean, if you
nothing
hear
about.
Meatloaf in any interview, he always says that he's never up there singing as himself. He's playing a character in all of
Absolutely.
these songs. So it's just an
Absolutely.
extension of what he did with Rocky Horror.
Yes. Okay, 7 was one of those creepy movies, right? That I had put on. You ever sitting there watching a movie and I forget how long after it came out. I don't think I saw it in the theaters, but I remember he's in like a white room at one point, isn't he? Brad Pitt, he's like in kind of like an insane asylum of some kind. And I remember that they're hallucinating, there's blood on the walls, and what's his name? The greatest actor of all time is like the head detective. What's
Oh, Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman, right?
I thought you were going to say Kevin Spacey. I was like,
No, Kevin
bad
Spacey.
timing.
Yeah. You know what? Kevin Spacey, man, wow. Was he he was truly a bad guy. Everybody was mad at him, but he was just staying in character, you know? Yeah.
He's just, yeah, that's why he was so good. He was a douche.
Kayfabing it.
Kevin Spacey. Oh my God. So yeah, Seven was it was surprising. It was one of those movies. It's like, you know, when you're sitting there, the movie that does it for me is Rounders, right? It's Friday night, you're ready to go to bed. And all of a sudden you're flipping through for one last little push, you know, and there's Rounders. You know, if you don't know who the sucker at the table is, it's probably you know? And Seven did that to me. They were sitting on that bench, I remember, in the police headquarters, and it was just creepy, you know? So that was really interesting. What's his name? Who's the guy who was in that movie? Got a 5-picture deal?
Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris is so easy to hate. I'm sorry. I am so opinionated. When it comes to Chuck Norris, I used to drive my kid to Burbank High School every morning, right? And we always went down this street. There was a chili place on the left. And when you got to the light, you looked over and on the fence and said, I hate Chuck Norris. right in Burbank. And I always go, I understand that. You know, this is a tough round between Seven and Rocky Horror.
And Invasion USA. Yeah.
But I'm going to give it to Seven because that's a quality movie.
Oh.
And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why else, because that director went on to, what else did he do? He made some amazing movies, you know.
Yeah,
And I don't
great.
love musicals, so here we go. Even though I wrote them. Here we go.